picture your life as a book. Would you read it? Well, you're the author of the book, and I think we oftentimes kind of forget to fill the pages with anything worth reading. It's like when I was a little kid, I'd always say I'd rather have a really great short story than a 400-page book of the same thing every day. And it's so easy to get caught up in like being productive or doing the right, responsible thing that we end up sort of forgetting to fill the pages. We do want to read about someone who's maybe doing well, maybe accomplishing stuff, but don't be the character who, the audience is watching like, no, don't give up, don't forget to do that, why did you do that? Sometimes I do think about sort of like an audience, sort of like this idea that I am the sort of director. I get to control the protagonist in this game called life. This incarnation that I'm currently in, I get to define it. It's not defined by Zuck. It's not defined by Peter Thiel. It's not defined by Elon Musk. Those are things that I can respond to. The powerful people in the world, systems, governments, they all exist. It's not that I'm more powerful than them in relation to the world, but I am more powerful than them in relation to me. We are in control of ourselves. I am the master of my own mind. I think especially with TV and celebrities, it's so easy to live vicariously through other people. Through people on YouTube, through people on Instagram, through movies and television. We let the challenges, suffering, joy, and pain of these characters kind of be a proxy or a, artificial version of our own. But there's a depth to reality that you just cannot match with the, replication, the sort of memory of these things. Like, you only really understand the depth of an emotion as far as you've experienced it. So the more that you go through, the more life experience you have, you actually are better equipped to maybe gain from watching stuff, gain from understanding celebrities or movie characters or archetypes, superheroes. It scares me. I don't know what the answer is, but it scares me that a lot of people are going to basically get born, work, watch Netflix, sleep, work, watch Netflix, check Twitter, check Instagram, sleep, repeat, and die. And it's like, just try to break free. Like, go for a hike, go for a walk, talk to your family. It's hard. It's so much harder than ever to just like actually live a physical reality where these things get fulfilled and we properly interact with our brain's mechanisms. Like, I saw somewhere that when dogs like go for a walk, it's really important for them because they smell everything, and that's how they kind of download the sensory data of their environment. And when you don't have all that information, your brain very often can get kind of scared and kind of frustrated. And that's why you have all these small little tiny dogs who sit in their house all day, and all they do is bark. They don't shut up, and they can't even do anything. And then you have these dogs that are outside all day, and they're running around, and when they get home, they sleep. They sleep because they've done a bunch of stuff. They got all the zoomies out. They got to live life, and they got to experience reality. But when you're all cooped up, it's almost like your brain probably assumes you're like in jail or something. It assumes that that's where safety is, that's where comfort is, and everything else is like something to be averse to or fearful of. But the more you go outside and the more you interact with people and the more people see you filming, you get used to it and you start to get more comfortable, and you realize that the world is your home. The world is safe. The world is comfortable. We have each other's backs. Like, if it wasn't for the stuff we see on our phones, on our screens, I don't think we'd think so negatively about the world. Because if you really take a breath, take a second, think about your daily life, think about the people around you, things are okay. things are pretty good. I think one of my favorite ways for people to experience life is definitely like sports. Like join a sports team, join a rec league, join an adult league or a kid, whatever you got to do. It's worth it. It's so worth it. And I am so bad at sports, bro. I've never been good at sports, but I love playing them because one, I really recognize like how blessed we are to have a working physical body. Like, thank God, thank you, Lord. I'm so grateful that I have 4 limbs. I have 2 eyes to see. I have 2 ears to hear. I have a nose to smell and a mouth to taste and to speak and to feel in my heart and my arms, which can move and throw and run and catch and jump. Like, that's going to go away. Please don't overlook that. Please don't miss it. Life moves pretty fast. Don't miss it that you get to do this. You get to, and if you're not into that, I think just generally another thing I love about sports is the social element. So you get to feel like these challenges and teamwork, and if you're in a league, like you get to play different teams. Like, oh, these guys suck. These guys are really mean. These guys are cool. Oh, there's almost a fight. And you get to have that challenge and joy and all that good stuff that we normally look at TV or Netflix for. You get to actually do it, and it's like, I do think a skirmish in your local basketball game is more exciting for your brain than like any movie, any Avengers or whatever movie. Like, just a simple game of pickup football is probably better. But that social element can also be fulfilled by joining local teams, local volunteer groups, any sort of mission, any sort of like when there's multiple people who want to do stuff. So like enough people want to play sports, there's a league. Enough people want to help homeless people, there's an organization. Enough people want to, sew clothes, there's different sewing communities. There's different sort of clothing communities. There's different things on the internet where instead of watching Netflix, this one-sided sort of interaction with your phone, you can have a two-way interaction where you can meet people on the internet who are into the stuff that you're in and talk to them and work with them and send stuff back and forth and meet up and blah 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 blah. Like, one day at a time, 1 second at a time, one action at a time, just do the right thing. And what you start to see and realize is it actually feeds itself. Energy feeds itself. So it's like the hardest part of getting out of a depression and releasing that energy is like all the energy gets condensed and stuck into like a blob that feels so hard to break out of. But it's just like 1 second at a time, literally just one action. Just like do a push-up, like right now, just like, like just do whatever you possibly can to break out of it. Just break out of it, transmutate the energy. Energy feeds on itself. We don't remember watching random crap on a screen. Okay, we don't remember like going out to the club. We don't remember going to our classes in school, doing schoolwork. Like, memory is oftentimes connected to learning new things, experiencing new places, and most importantly, growth. Like, putting yourselves in situations to grow and to become a better version of yourself tomorrow than you are today. And so much of that journey requires failure. It's like weight training, resistance training is about pushing your muscles until failure. And then after they fail, they have to rebuild themselves. And in the process of rebuilding themselves, they grow back just a little bit stronger. So the way you get really strong and really jacked is to keep pushing yourself until failure constantly, and constantly kind of putting your body in a situation where it does have to grow, and it feels a need and a desire and an opportunity to become something more. But if you're not pushing it, if you're not putting yourself in a situation where your cells inside of your body, the neural pathways inside of your brain, if they don't feel the need to grow, it's like, why does your body need to adapt if you go to work, get paid, go home, order food, watch TV, fall asleep? you know, I did that for way too long. I still do that sometimes. And then when I do that, I'm like, oh man, it's so hard to do stuff. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this. And it's like I said, I never really regret trying things that fail, relationships that don't work out, businesses that don't work out. You know, all of them worked out in crafting and sculpting my mind, my framework of perception, and the person that I am. You know, it's like if I'm really good at chess and I only play people that are bad at chess, well then I'm not going to get any better at chess. But if I'm willing to play games that I actually lose, then you can go back and analyze the game that you lost and then learn from it. See the mistakes you made, see the ways that the other person was able to beat you, and learn from it. And in that sense, they didn't beat you, they just taught you. You know, it's like the only thing to lose is our ego, and we should want to lose that. You know, it's like if you're not doing something in order to defend, you know, this sort of idea that, oh, I'm this, I'm that. Like one of my buddies, we saw some video of some girl beating a guy in a race, and it was like an exact 400, so one lap around the track. She did it in like, I don't know, 55 seconds. And he was like, oh, I could totally do that. I could beat that. I have so much respect for the fact that when I was like, all right, then do it, he was like, okay. And then we went out and did it, and guess what? He couldn't do it. But what I really respected is, one, that he was willing to do it, and two, that you're able to learn from that situation that, oh, you know, maybe I can't do that. So then you can kind of face reality and be like, maybe I need to get in better shape. Maybe I need to do more cardio. Maybe I can be that version of myself I thought I was, but I'm just not quite there yet. I just need to do a little bit more work. And in doing so, you also respect, you know, like that initial video he saw, you probably have a little bit more respect for that person, and you probably have a little bit more of a connection between the things you say, the things you think, and the reality of the situation. And I really love that trait where if you say something, you actually are willing to do it. You know, put your time where your mind is. Build that sort of connection between your time and your mind. Because the only thing to regret is when you forget to learn. There's no such thing as failure. There's just the opportunity to further understand both yourself and the world around you, and sort of strengthen that ability, that connection between what you do, the things that make up your time and your mind, and how they affect your world and the reality which you live in that makes up your time. That balance between the internal and the external, I think, is the key.